Okay, how's it going? I hope everyone is having a good day here on YouTube. We are going to do a very quick impromptu live stream. Nothing too fancy, just something that I think is going to be great and it's going to be a great learning experience for you. So I'm doing this portrait of Gal Gadot, and I'm actually going to go ahead and work on the underpainting. So let's go ahead and start. So I'm using the India ink mixture, which is 1:1, 1 part water, 1 part India ink. And then I am using the actually no, this is the Iwata HP SBS, the side feed Eclipse, which is probably my favorite airbrush at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start, and then as far as any questions, I'll answer them afterwards because I don't have access to YouTube at the moment. I'm going to try with my other PC, but that's not important. Important thing is to show you guys how I work on my underpainting to build tone to come in with acrylic afterwards. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm gonna probably begin exactly where the focus is, the same as my drawing. Before I actually go into the surface I'm working on, I do some tests. Make sure that everything is working correctly. And as you can see, this Eclipse is an amazing airbrush. That goes without saying, right guys? And this is only going to be for maybe a half hour. Nothing too crazy. But definitely what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tilt this up a little bit. Go. So I have a better angle because I'm working on a flat surface so I can show everybody. Okay, so first thing's happening is we are working on her eyes. And of course that is the compressor. My compressor is the California Air Tools, which I really do enjoy. You want to keep the application of the ink mixture not too wet. That's very important. Right here, I believe there's 2 light sources from this original photograph. That's why you're going to see a little bit darker on this cast shadow than the cast shadow to the left. And then of course there's a cast shadow right underneath her nostril to the left. And that is darker than all 3. Same thing here. This cast shadow from her hand is the darkest. Okay, so what I'm going to do is very quickly, let me change to this. So how you doing today? I know it's early in the morning. I hope everyone's having a good day. I'm just going to go ahead and do a local recording. So maybe I can make this part of a YouTube video in the future. That would be very cool. Very quickly, I'm just going to try and open up my other computer in case someone is watching. We can go ahead and answer some of your questions that you might have. So what I'm going to do is try and open up I'll try and open up Chrome on here, see if that works. If it doesn't, then like I said, I'll answer your questions afterwards. But most importantly, let's go ahead and work on this portrait of Gal Gadot. Now this is going to be black and white afterwards. So I'm just right now, my reasoning for using the India ink underpainting is because I'll be able to erase the pastel underneath, which is really great. And let's work on that upper lip. And also we have this really strong cast shadow underneath her bottom lip. Like I said, don't get too wet. Let it, you plenty of time to get darker. So don't worry about that. See if I can go on Facebook. Actually, YouTube, forgive me. Okay, for some reason that's not working on my PC. On my other laptop, no problem. Now the thing is, if I went ahead and tried to go on my on this laptop that I'm actually doing a live stream on, if I actually opened up Face or YouTube, it would actually cause like triple noise. Like it would loop the sound. It would be really bad. So. So let's work on the dark cast shadow of her hand on her cheek. You can see the amount of beautiful control you can get with this eclipse. think I have the reference for this particular photo. Let's see if I have it here. That would make life easier a little bit. Nope, no such luck. But that's all right. I have it on my reference on the PC here. Now my air pressure is really low, probably around, I don't know, maybe 15, 10 to 15. So it has to be because this ink is almost like water. So definitely watch out for tip dry, always check, and always make sure you test on a piece of scrap paper. So here's the cast shadow from the upper lip onto the bottom lip. There we go. I got plenty of time to work on the hard edges. Right now I'm just sort of sketching. David Morton, one of my first airbrush teachers, always said that it's more important to be able to sketch with your airbrush than to get super fine lines. And that is so true. Okay, another cast shadow. Remember, cast shadows are always the darkest. So really try to hit them first when working with the India ink. I can go darker, so that's why I'm not oversaturating the surface. There's plenty of time to get dark. make sure, see, I could have gotten a little dark. When that happens, the ink will start to pool and then dry and leave stains, and that's no good. So that's why it's always important to be very mindful of how wet you're making the surface. So always remember that. And as I said, right now I'm only sketching. So let's go ahead and maybe work on the upper part of the hair. As always, making sure I am not oversaturating the surface. Plenty of time to go dark. Right now I'm just establishing. Let that dry. Same thing over here. Let's establish some of these darks. I'm not pulling back that much because the more I pull back, the more ink and water mixture and the more saturated the surface is going to become. Okay, give me a moment. What I'm going to do is I am going to get my cell phone. So if anyone is on YouTube talking to me, I can talk back. So give me a moment. Okay, thank you so much. So I did get my cell phone here, and now I'm going to try and get to the comment section. So in case anyone's saying anything, we can definitely chat, answer any questions that you might have. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Hey, Vladimir, how you doing? Okay, so Matthew, I do see you there. I work on a wood panel. So this is pretty cool. It's just like masonite board. And what I do with the masonite is I treat it with marble dust and gesso in water. And that helps a lot. So it creates a surface that has a little bit of a texture. I could work in anything with this. I could work in pastel, airbrush. I could work in paint. I can draw on it. So it's a really great surface. I do have a video on the surface. I think it was back in 2008 or 2009, and I go into detail what exactly I use. So now we're in good shape, so now I can see comments. Have my cell phone to the left. And of course, those who are just joining, this is Gal Gadot, and it's my underpainting. This is going to be a black and white painting. Right now I'm just establishing value so I can erase these pencil lines so they won't get in the way when I go in with acrylic. Acrylic and the airbrush. Let's work on this other eyebrow here. Let's continue to establish the dark of her hair and then come down over here as well. It's always tempting to go ahead and go dark, but that's going to saturate the surface, oversaturate it. So I'm definitely making sure that I resist that temptation. And of course, this is the Eclipse, the HP SDS. Let me go to here and see if we could maybe put in here, which is a very light cast shadow. And as I said earlier, we're not, sorry about the compressor. Definitely, good question. So, I'll wait till the compressor stops. But yeah, Matt, that's a very good question. I always like using this one right here, which is a 0.5 Pentel, and I usually use F leads inside, which is really good. Sometimes if I'm working really tight, I'll use this one, but not too often. It's a 0.3. It's even thinner. This is so delicate, it breaks all the time, but this is a sweet spot. The 0.5 Pentel mechanical pencil with the F lead works really great. Definitely recommend it. And of course, we're going to continue with this really nice light cast shadow here. Now, if I was going to do this in, let's say, acrylic, I would have a really hard time with these pencil lines underneath. But since I'm using the India ink underpainting, the pencil lines I can erase. It just sort of, I don't know how it does it, but I can erase the pencil lines, which which is really fantastic. So when I'm really going in there with the color, I have no problem. See how that erases? Sort of just goes away, which is great. Here we have a little bit of a darker cast shadow from her hand. So let's see if we can start working on her hand, sort of catch everything up, because her hands are pretty much not even touched. I'm feeling a little bit of a delay when I pull back the trigger, and that definitely is because of the tip dry. A lot of cast shadows in this particular pose. Since this is already dried, I can go ahead, press back a little bit more, and make this a little bit darker. Resist the temptation to really oversaturate the surface. You can do several passes. Always remember to paint in 3 dimensions. You can go further away for lighter, you can go closer for darker, you can pull back for darker, pull back just a little bit for lighter. So there's several ways to control the amount of paint that is going onto the surface. I'm going to go a little further away to get the cast shadow in the corner of her mouth there. It's very light, so I just push back, that's all. Little indentation. A little darker here. Let me quickly check my XSplit, making sure everything is good. Okay, I do like the color. Seems the color is a little green one, has a sort of green tint on YouTube. And I'm not sure what's a YouTube issue because I'm recording here locally and there's no problem. The white balance is perfect. It's a little frustrating, but it definitely is a limitation with YouTube, not with me. There are, of course, some hard edges here, but we're going to work on that later. Right now, we're just sketching this in. Check the tip. Okay, so let's work on her forehead. We seem to have neglected that area. And you'll see once we start erasing some of those pencil lines, things are really going to come together fast. I don't usually work on these crazy angles, but it's the best way to teach you guys. Pull back if you want it lighter. See how far away I am now? Getting a little warm in here, so I'm turning on the fan. You might hear that, you might not. As you can see, she's starting to come together. And this, of course, is the underpainting where we're going to go ahead and work on top of. So let's begin to do a little bit of erasing here. And you see how clean it erases. Those who underpaint with acrylic, they have some problems because if there's any pencil lines whatsoever, it's going to show up. Once the acrylic goes on top of it, it's over. Now, as far as this underpainting, we can continue get really fine with the underpainting. And it can only help you, it doesn't hurt you. The only thing is you want to be a little bit lighter in value than if you were working on a finished piece at the, so if you're working lighter, as you go darker with the paint, it's going to darken the value anyway. If you're right on the money as far as the values and then you go over it, you're actually going to go too dark. So you want to definitely have the underpainting lighter than normal. Now, how lighter do you want to go? That is probably about 2 f-stops if you're thinking of like in photography. I would say 2 values on the value scale from 1 to 8. This way you have total control. You can always get darker, but to make it lighter is a pain. Okay, so let's see if we could go ahead and work on the forehead a little bit more. Whoop. Be careful with that cup. It's a side feed. Always keep the air on. When you're painting, always keep the air on, even when you're not pulling back. See if I can very quickly. Well, sorry about the compressor. Well, not sorry because it's part of airbrushing. So those who are airbrushing know about the compressor. But this is actually a pretty quiet one. It is a, which is really cool. This compressor is by California Air Tools. About 50 decibels, which isn't too bad. You can still talk over it. It's not like one of those that like home. Let's see if I can go ahead and share this on Facebook real quick. Okay, give me a quick moment. So far we're doing pretty good. We're making pretty good. Just gonna go ahead and let my Facebook people know that I'm on live stream right now. Whoop. On YouTube. Hey, I said live stream. Not live stream. There we go. Okay, so now they can see it. We have 3 people watching us, which is cool. And let's get back to business. So hope everyone's having a good Thursday morning. I hope your week's going really well, and I hope you're enjoying this little tutorial on how I do my underpaintings. Of course, we're going to go back again to work on erasing some of those pencil lines that we needed before. Let's get down to business here. I always like to check with a nice scrap piece of paper. Make sure that my lines are working correctly, the airbrush is working well. It's going to do exactly what I want to do. Okay, so I'm happy there. Let's go ahead and get this little indentation here. It's a little bit darker. Same thing here. Remember, don't want to oversaturate the surface. I'm going to keep saying that because it is such a big issue when it does happen. Let's do something cool, shall we? Let's see. So I'm gonna work on this eye, and I'm gonna show you that I'm able to go ahead and blow that up. So here we go. Let's move this over, up, and okay, see how cool. Now this is great because I could really show you in detail what I'm doing. Never oversaturating the surface. Oh, thanks, Matt. I actually started maybe about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and I was basically exhibiting only in pastel. And with pastel, I was always looking for a way to have a really good underpainting. And I was using India ink just with a brush, a regular paintbrush. And it was working okay, but it was a little crude to my liking. It wasn't tightly detailed. So I watched this video of someone working in Airbrush, and I said, wow, that would be the best, that would be like a really incredible underpainting. So I bought a really cheap airbrush at first, a crazy loud compressor, much more loud than I have now, and I started doing airbrush underpaintings, and it was really great, and I did it in the India ink as I'm doing now. But a funny thing happened is I started really falling in love with the medium of what it could do and the possibilities. So I started continuing my underpainting and doing pastel over it, but then I started really getting into airbrush as a painting medium all its own, and it was great. And that's how it's been. So now I work half and half. So I work half sometimes in pastel and sometimes in airbrush. But it's funny because airbrush techniques make their way into my pastel paintings, and my pastel techniques make their way into my airbrush paintings. Let's go ahead and start that eyebrow. Definitely don't want to oversaturate it, so we're being careful about that. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom back out. Let's see what we have. Okay, so now we're back to normal, which is good. And let's see what would be the best thing to attack right now. Okay, let's go with this eye over here, and we can zoom into there. Move this over. Let's move this up so we're not dealing with those directional arrows. Okay, cool. Alright, so let me get to my reference. Let's check the tip dry. And let's check scrap piece of paper, making sure. You know what? I think I could lower the air pressure just a little bit, give myself a little bit more control. Okay, here we go. Let me zoom into my reference. Oh, sorry, my hair was in the way. Let me sit down, maybe I get a better angle. Notice how I moved the cup so it's not gonna, spill onto my surface. A little darker over here. Always remember, the white of the eyes are rarely white. So if you guys haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be doing a lot of live feeds and of course a lot of videos on airbrushing. And I post usually around once a week, with the actual videos. And I'm going to try and do maybe once a week or twice a week with the live streams, both in drawing and in airbrush. Once in a while in pastel. Pay close attention to where you're laying down the ink, because you do not want to make it too wet and stain the surface. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move down to her lips. Let me go to the correct screen here. So what we can do is just basically move down her face to the lips. So we could work on that. a little pointier right here, her upper lip. Than what I had it originally drawn. Let's just look and try to get some of the lights and darks here on the upper lip. Like I said, you know, with the underpainting you can go pretty detailed. You know, all those 19th century French academic painters can't be wrong. I don't see too many airbrush artists actually working in underpainting. And I think a lot of it could be because they don't have a knowledge of 19th century academic painting and how important an underpainting is. Even the Venetian painters in the 1400s and the 1500s into the 1600s used Venetian red as their underpainting. So I'm going to actually come in with the eraser now. Let's see if we can erase some of these lines here. And that's the whole reason for the India ink, because for some reason the pencil lines just come right off underneath the India ink, which is amazing. And I found this out just by experimenting. See how that cleans up pretty nicely. Let's go ahead and zoom out. There we go. So you can see it's really looking pretty good right now. Let's go ahead and do some erasing over here. There we go. It's just like drawing in pencil, really. Once you look at it that way, it sort of demystifies the airbrush. It's just a tool like anything else that could be mastered like anything else. Airbrush artists don't have superhuman powers, they just practiced a lot. So you see these like famous airbrush artists, they got their reputation by working all the time. That's it. The more you do anything, guys, the better you get. So just paint as much as possible. Work as much as possible. Oh, is my head in the way? Let's see. Hopefully not. Getting pretty low on ink there. As you can see, she's slowly coming together. I'm not rushing it. Never rush it. Always take your time. You'll get there. Get there with patience. Let's go ahead and do a little more erasing. Now I'm not doing any erasing details, you know, like you see a lot in airbrushing. Down the line, yes, but not at this stage. I'm just erasing the pencil lines as I'm going. Ah, thank you so much for that nice compliment, Bupathy. I appreciate that. There are a lot of really cool people from India living in my area here in the New York City metropolitan area. Very cool people. I really love your culture, Bupathy. Really just great, and the Indian community here is just so cool. And as we're working, let's make sure that we don't lose the drawing underneath. That would be bad, of course. So we're just making adjustments here and there. And of course, that's my compressor going off. So it's really coming together nicely, and I'm happy I'm able to share this with everybody. So as you can see, little by little, I'm erasing everything, but making sure I'm not losing that detail that I had in the original drawing. So it looks like it's getting a little lighter in here because of the sun coming in. In this direction is the sun, so sort of getting less cloudy out. So let me see if I could lower the ISO and maybe make it a little bit better. Let's see. Okay, what if I change the ISO to 200? What would that do? Oh, that would make it too light. Okay, so what if I went ahead? There, that looks a little better. Okay, cool. I think that helps a little bit. Let's see if we can work on this hand over here. How does that look, guys? A little bit better? That I lowered the, raised the aperture a little bit? Okay, so let's go ahead and work on this hand. Ah, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm sort of a one-man band here, so I'm cinematographer, artist, writer. So I really appreciate you guys' feedback. you know, and if anything looks weird or anything like that, just let me know. Or if the sound starts getting garbled. Ooh, there's some little bit of dark hair here. So that's really good to help describe the form of that finger. So I'm actually going to do a live stream tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And I'm going to do an underpainting like this. But I think I'm going to do it in... I think I'm going to actually start it in sepia. So it's not going to be an underpainting as much as starting to work in the paint. A little bit different technique. But if you get a chance, come by 9 o'clock tonight. But if you don't, I'm going to leave it on the site. So it'll still be on YouTube. So you'll be able to see it, you know, tomorrow, whatever is convenient for you guys. Like I said, make sure you don't get too dark or oversaturate, make the surface too wet. And remember, on Facebook, it's still the same name, Timothy John Luke Smith on Facebook. Every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, I do a drawing tutorial. And that's a lot of fun. And we do a drawing from start to finish. And we do it in the manner of the old masters. You know, using tinted paper and white pastel for the highlights. Which is really cool. So, see if... Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My friend from Russia. Thank you for checking out my video. Really appreciate that. So cool. We have someone from India. We have someone from Russia. I'm excited. And Matthew, where are you from, may I ask? We also had Vladimir earlier, and Vladimir is from Serbia, so that's so cool. Now we can do another layer. Now remember, oh, the UK, great. Wow, you know, that is so great. And I have links in the description field of my videos, you know, of the India ink and everything. I think the best video, if you look on my site, Matt, on my videos here on YouTube, is the skull, the sugar skull. It'll have the India ink and the board and the gesso. But if you have any questions, let me know. Definitely, it's the Higgins India ink, waterproof India ink, which is really great. And let's go ahead and darken. So we have Serbia, Russia, the UK, India. This is great. And I'm in New Jersey. New Jersey, just outside of New York City, guys. That's a fantastic mix of international artists. And then we're gonna, interesting how the lips work anatomically, which is quite fascinating, is that where it begins, it's still indentations. And I think what I can do, let's see if I have one in this studio. If I have a freehand shield in here. Let me check real quick. No, I don't. But so basically, what I want to do is I want to make a little bit of a hard edge right there. So I can do it probably. Let's see. And then here is where the lips start. See, it's sort of very interesting, that shape there. Now this hair here is going to be probably not the best to do it in the India ink, and I'll actually go in with the acrylic later, and I think that will work out better. I think over here I might have some freehand shields. Let me double check. No, no freehand shields. But hold on one second for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly get a couple of freehand shields. So let's see here. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, thanks so much for waiting. So I have this freehand shield here. These are great. I don't know if you guys use them, but they're really good to get hard edges. So let's go back to right there. Okay. So this basically just like that. And then we can touch that pretty quickly. There we go. So that actually helps out. Same thing with over here. We can sort of work on some harder edges. Just like that. Give it more definition. And let's see if we could go ahead and get some definition in some other areas. Right here, let's work on this edge. Same thing here. it just gives a little more clarity to the underpainting, which is important. And let's work on over here. Now make sure that there's not any wet ink over here, and just you'll reposition it on your painting. So wear like a shirt you don't like that much when you're painting, and this way you can wipe it on your shirt. See, I just would, just take this and just like wipe it here. Make sure there's no ink left on there. So that's very important. Once that ink's on there, it's just going to be horrible. Alright, so let's see. So we have some really nice things happening with the eye. So let's see if we can go ahead and start some hard edge work here. So remember, you want to cover where you're not painting and have it uncovered where you're painting. So always be real conscious of what you're using the freehand shield for. But you see that nice hard edge though? Let's go to the other eye and see if we can go ahead. Let's zoom in, shall we? Okay. Okay, so let's make sure we get some nice hard edges here. And always take your time positioning this correctly. You don't want to get it too wet. There we go. And then the same over here. And take your time. You're going to find the right angle with your freehand shield, but sometimes it takes some repositioning to find it. So I'm not sure how long I've been doing this live feed for. Let's see, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically call it a day. I'm going to revisit this. And so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, so this way you'll be alerted when I'm going to go live again, because I'm going to continue with this underpainting, and then I'm going to go ahead after that, and then I'm going to go in with the black and white acrylic. So it's going to be very informative. So I really hope that this helped you guys out a little bit. I definitely want to share my techniques with you and make airbrush a little less mysterious. So those are things that are very important to me. So let's go ahead and remove the zoom here. So that's what we have so far. Not bad, right? I mean, I think we have a pretty good underpainting going. So we can go ahead and apply. Now this is going to be black and white, but it works for color as well. So it's really good. Ah, wow, thank you, Matt. It's very nice meeting you, sir. And like I said, subscribe, hit that little bell icon, so this way I could share some more different techniques that I'm working on, and and answer any questions that you might have. So guys, thanks again for everything. My friends in the UK, Russia, Serbia, and India. So very cool. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Don't forget, 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight, I'm going live on YouTube again. So if you get a chance, be great to see you live. If not, I'm going to leave it on the website so you could look at it later. So take care of yourselves, everybody. And I really enjoyed spending time with you today.